Hey scholars, it's Miss Marnon. So we're going to work on Unit 4, page 2 in class notebook today. So our objective, I can determine the total given a part of the total it is. So it sounds a little weird, but if I say 1/2 of some total number is 50, that total number is 100. That's kind of what we're trying to get at. So for our DIN, you first have a review question. Miss Marnon bought candy for her class. 2/7 of the candy had chocolate in it. If Miss Marnon bought 140 pieces of candy, how many pieces have chocolate in them? So pause the video, see if you can figure this out. Okay, so you should have already figured out how many pieces have chocolate in them. So there's two ways you could have done it. The first way is with a tape diagram. So I'm going to give myself a little more room. So if I want to draw a tape diagram, I'm going to first draw my rectangle. It's a little wobbly, but it works. So there's my rectangle, and I know the total is 140 pieces of candy. And our fraction amount here is 7ths, so I need to break this into 7. So those are my 7 pretty equal pieces. I'm actually proud of that. And 2 of those 7ths are the ones that have chocolate in it. So we need to split this 140 up into our 7 boxes. So 140 divided by 7, we'll get 20 in each box. And so for those 2/7, 2 times 20 or 20 plus 20, we'll get 40 pieces have chocolate in it. The other way you could have done it is just by writing a product. So 2/7 of 140 is the same as 2/7 times 140, and you'll still get 40 pieces of candy. So there's our final answer. The preview question is going to be similar, but this time it's Miss Reno. So Miss Reno also bought some candy for her class. 1/3 of the candy has peanuts in them. If 24 pieces of candy had peanuts, how many total pieces of candy did Miss Reno buy? So this one is asking how many total pieces. This is getting back to that objective. So this is just a preview question. So pause the video and try it. Okay, so you should have tried this preview question. So let's try setting up a tape diagram. So we don't know the total. So I'm going to just put a question mark here. But I do know I need to break it up into 3 boxes because we're talking about 1/3. So let's break this into thirds. And I know that 1/3, so one of these 3, has peanuts. And I also know that 24 pieces of candy had peanuts. So I know what I highlighted here is 24. So we can use our tape diagram to find the total. So if I know one box is 24, that means each box is 24. We can do 24 plus 24 plus 24, or 24 times 3 to get our mystery answer. And I'll let you guys do that one on your own. So that was our preview, just kind of setting us up to look at the notes and see if we could figure it out. So here's exercise 1. The pattern below shows a certain number of cookies and cupcakes. We want to think about how many cookies there are compared to all the desserts. So this, all the desserts we're talking about total. So how many cookies, number of cookies? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cookies. Oops. Total desserts. So 6 cookies, 7, 8, 9 total. So for every 9 desserts, there are 6 cookies. So once the simplest fraction. So the fraction of all desserts that are in cookies is, so you could say 9/6. Oh wait, Miss Martin's messing it up. So we want the fraction of cookies out of desserts. We want cookies out of the total. So we have 6 cookies out of a total 9. We need to simplify this fraction. This is not in its simplest form. On our yellow calculators, you can type in the fraction and then hit the simp button and then enter. But let's try it on the Desmos calculator so you guys can see how that one works too for those of us working at home. So you can type in the fraction 6/9. It's going to give you the decimal, but if you click the convert to fraction, now it's in simplest form. It's 2/3, and you might have recognized that right off the bat. That's really ugly. So 2/3 of all desserts are cookies. If there were 42 desserts with the same ratio, find the number of cookies. So this is like what we did yesterday. So we can draw a tape diagram if we want. So let's draw it. So there's 42 desserts. So that's our 42 total. We have thirds. So let's break it into 3. 2 of those thirds are cookies. So if you want, you can do 42 divided by 3. And I think we're going to get 14. So that means 14 in each box. And so for these 2 boxes that represent the cookies, we would get 28. So 28 would be cookies. The other way, 2/3 of 42, we would do 2/3 times 42. And if we check it on our calculator here, so enter 2/3 times 42, we do get 28. So 28 cookies. Exercise 2. At a pep rally, 7 out of every 20 kids are wearing hats. So we can see this isn't written as a fraction, but we can write it as 7 out of 20. There are 100 kids total at the pep rally. Find the number of kids wearing hats. So we could do a tape diagram and we could split it up into 20 and figure it all out. But that's going to be a lot of boxes. 20 boxes. It seems like too many boxes that I want to draw out. So I want us to go back to this product way that we've been working on. So all we need to do is we need to do the fraction times the total. So we're going to do the fraction, which is 7/20. So 7 out of 20. 100 is the total. So we're going to multiply by 100. So 7/20 times 100. Let's practice typing that on this calculator. So type in the fraction 7/20 times 100, and we get 35. So 35 students are wearing hats. Okay, so now here's what we wanted to get to. So we were practicing, we looked at this kind of total here, and we used the total here. We worked on a product because this kind of would be a silly tape diagram, too many boxes. Now let's get to what we were talking about in the preview. How can we find the total? So in a bag full of candy, for every 8 pieces, 5 of them are gum. There are 20 pieces of gum. So 5 out of 8, if you want to write a fraction, is 5/8, and there are 20 pieces of gum. Fill in the missing pieces of the tape diagram below to determine the value of C, the total pieces of candy. So we need to find the total. This is what we don't know. We do know there are 20 pieces of gum, and that's going to be the 5/8. So here are 8 total boxes, and 5 of them are the gum. So if we have these ones, these 5 are 20. 20 split into these 5 boxes would be 4 in each. So here are 20 pieces of gum split into 4, but now we know that each box is the same. So now for our 8/8, or that total, we just have this many. We can just do 4 plus 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 4, or we can do multiplication instead of repeated addition. So it's 4 times 8. We get a total of 32 pieces of gum. Or total, not pieces of gum, total pieces of candy. So we have 32 total pieces of candy. And we can talk more about how we can get this using math later. So you can use tape diagrams for all of these problems. We got fifths, fourths, and eighths. So those are pretty easy tape diagrams to do. If you need more room, just go like this. Your goal is to find the total like we did here. If you wanted more practice, did you figure out what the total is here in the preview? How many pieces of candy did Miss Reno buy? And then you have your exit ticket. At an animal shelter, 3/4 of the animals are cats. If there are 48 cats, how many total animals are there? So finding the total on your exit ticket. So you have a reflection, I can determine the whole, or I need help determining the whole, or the total. So whole and total are going to mean the same. And then make sure you go to Canvas and complete independent practice 17. When you're all done, make sure you mark this lesson as done in Canvas.